So the surgery's done. I'm just wondering, look, we love to do this stuff. It's the off season. When you parsed through kind of what he had to say in that video, did he, and if people haven't seen the video or read what he had to say, you can go to cleveland.com/Browns. We got stories on it. Mary Kay wrote a couple of stories on it actually. On what day is today? We're recording this on Thursday, so it was Wednesday. Who knows? It's the off season. I don't know what day it is anymore.
Me neither.
Did anything stand out to you in that video that he said?
Yes, actually, Dan, things did stand out to me in that video. There seemed to be he addressed a lot of the angst that he felt during the season, and I think that that's probably the number one thing that stood out to me was that he was talking about when he said, my story is not over, but he said he's going to come back not just a better football player but a better person. I mean, I think he went through heck this year. I think the Odell situation rattled the hell out of him. I really do. I think it took a lot out of him, and it made him question and doubt a little bit who was for him, who was against him, and I think it did result in some of the lack of unity that we heard all those guys talking about. I think it made him wonder a little bit. Are the defensive guys wishing Odell was still here? Are they mad that we're not scoring off of these turnovers? I think he started to doubt himself a little bit. And he talked about that after the 2019 season, that he did doubt himself then. And of course, these guys are young and they're human. And when things are not going your way, it's only natural to start doubting yourself a little bit. So I think just building that confidence back up is so key. But that really stood out to me, Dan, just the emotional aspect of what he went through.
Yeah, and I think when he kind of admitted it was hard on him and his family,
Hmm.
it just feels like, I mean, look, those are the people who know how hurt he really was. And we've talked about it, the injury. I don't know if we're ever going to know exactly how much it did and didn't affect his play this year. Maybe I guess if he comes out and has a top 10 year next year, maybe we will just chalk it up to that. But, certainly it took a toll on him. Like you said, like hearing that criticism and probably hearing even his coaches not necessarily willing to embrace the fact that he was hurt and that was affecting him. And it definitely felt like maybe this was the first time he kind of admitted it took a toll on him.
Hmm.
I think there were maybe patches here and there where maybe he did during the season, but I think this was kind of the first time where it was like, yeah, okay, this was a really difficult season for him and the people around him.
Yeah, and you could see that there were cracks along the way, and he was showing signs of strain, and we could see it. You could see it when he walked off the field after the Detroit victory, and just, I mean, stalked off the field, and didn't congratulate anybody, shake anybody's hand, celebrate the victory in any way. Walked in, wouldn't talk. Came out the next day, still seemed frustrated. I mean, there was a lot of that. I mean, there were signs that he was not doing well or not handling things very well. I still think that the Baker was really hurt by that, and it shook his confidence. And how could it not? When you've got LeBron James on the OBJ team and your own teammates on the OBJ team, right? Even now, as OBJ is succeeding in the playoffs, you see that he has support of some of his former Browns teammates, and I think that was hard. I think that was hard for Baker to manage and navigate that, because I think it made him question himself a little bit and wonder about, like, who's with me, who's not with me, and it was a difficult situation for everybody involved.
One last thing that he did say in that video that I thought was interesting, and it kind of stuck out a little bit. So like, it was sort of like, wait, what? When he said, "This is not the end of my story," which I thought was interesting because I don't think anybody has written like the Baker Mayfield career obituary yet. I think obviously there's been talk of, is this the end of him in Cleveland, and maybe that's what he was getting at. But I thought that was an interesting line.
That was interesting. I actually used that as my headline on the story because I thought that was the most compelling thing that he said. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I thought the same thing. I don't think we have ever wondered if this is the end of Baker Mayfield's story or career or anything like
Right.
that. So I think that might be a function of he took a beating from the national media. I mean, a beating from the national media this season. He really did. And some of those games where he did not play well just so happened to be on national television in front of the world on Christmas Day or on Monday Night Football, the next game after that. And it just seemed like, I mean, I think, we did actually watch those two games back to back. And in the moment, it does have a feeling of finality to it. It does have a feeling like this isn't going well. Like, what is this?
It was just an interesting line because this wasn't, it was a serious injury, but it wasn't an Achilles, it wasn't an ACL, it wasn't something career threatening. It was, torn labrum surgery, like you mentioned it. As long as everything heals up okay, it's not going to be a lingering issue.
Right, exactly, 100%. So it was somewhat dramatic. It was a dramatic video with some deep themes in it.